Hi, I'm Caroline.
I'm Ami. Welcome to InBox.
Today, we have 3 terrific stories about music, cats, and a look back into Bay Area history. Your story is about what's hot in music. You call it Deep House. What is that?
Deep House is what you hear in clubs from the hottest DJs. I wanted to know how it's made. With the emergence of electronic music, DJs are now paid to play music that they produce. Now there is a rise in what is called Deep House. Tune in.
Back in the late 90s, it was hard to get a big club to play house music. And then all of a sudden it started to grow, and where like now Deep House is almost, it seems like you can hear it on the radio.
Approximately more than a year, probably 2 years, because I think genre-wise Deep House has been booming lately, and that's when I started listening to it.
Over here it's still underground, and over there it's not. So, and the kids over here are like, oh my god, Europe's so cool. And it just brought it over here. And the festivals. I think the festivals have helped, as like a bunch of DJs now have their own place in festivals. They're like, oh, what's this?
Festivals in the United States have not only grown in size, but also capacity, as there are now numerous festivals annually showcasing Deep House. But the most important question now remains, is what makes Deep House today so popular?
I think Deep House is big because it is both simple and complex. And people can dance to it, which everybody loves to dance all over the world. What is simple about it is usually it's a very simple, strong song structure, and it keeps going with some breaks and changes. And what is complex is there are constantly changes.
When I listen to Deep House music, there's a lot of detail in it, and I really like listening to those details. I think it's really, how can I say it? It's really creative. It's artistic in some way.
I think when it started initially, it was a lot of sequencers and mixers, programmable synthesizers, and classic keyboards like the Wurlitzer and Rhodes. Nowadays, it's kind of similar, but it's all in the box. It's all in the computer. The programs that I see most commonly used would probably be Ableton and Logic. However, there are many others out there, and it always depends on the person's style and how they want to go about producing a track. But there are many possibilities. Ultimately, you need a simple drum track. You need a solid kick, 4 on the floor, and then you might go about adding the hi-hats, maybe a little bit of snare, pulling your samples from something. If that's what you'd like to do, you can research and search in records and other samples. But you would slowly layer stuff and take different things away, find samples that are interesting to you, and slowly build things on top of each other.
I really like Disclosure, and recently I've been listening to Julio Bashmore's music, and I really like it a lot. But when I listen to songs, Deep House songs that I really like, I get really psyched, and it boosts up my day, and I just really enjoy listening to it. It's colorful. Yeah.
With the sudden rise of Deep House, there is always the worry of how long would it stick around for. Is it just a trend, or is it here to stay?
Deep house is basically disco. It's going to be around for a long time. With the population growth, things are getting a little crazy in San Francisco, but in a good way too, with more people being into deep house and dance music. So even though those trends are still here, some of them have died out, it's still here. I don't see it going anywhere in my lifetime.
A lot of people have been listening more to deep house kind of music, and I'm pretty sure in the future it's gonna be more mainstream, which I think it's kind of bad, because when some kind of music or genre becomes too mainstream, it's just very usual, and a lot of people probably think, oh, it's kind of boring now.
And there you have it, a new form of electronic music that is taking over the whole music industry, and it is called Deep House. Coming up next on InBox, we will go back in time and visit San Francisco Bay's largest island and discover what stories it has to share with us.
Welcome back.
We're joined by our reporter, Annie.
Thank you.
You are going to take us to a special place in the middle of San Francisco Bay.
I am. The bay has islands that range from small rocks with a long lighthouse to the famous tourist site Alcatraz. But there is a very special place called Angel Island that is rich in history, and this is the story. Angel Island, it offers great views of the San Francisco skyline, and it attracts many people to come with their families and friends. You can go hiking, biking, and camping. For many visitors, it is their favorite place for outdoor activities. But there is also a place many people don't know that much about, the Angel Island Immigration Station. For many people who were detained here, it is anything but their favorite memory. Don Lee remembers.
I was detained at Angel Island in 1939, and I'm 11 years old at that time.
Don Lee was forced to stay there about 28 days. He was a war refugee.
As 1937 approached, the war with Japan was quite active at that time, so it was getting very dangerous.
A war between China and Japan lasted from 1937 to 1941. China's casualties totaled 20 million dead and 15 million wounded.
My dad was fortunate enough to gather some financial support and whatnot, and somehow got me to Hong Kong, waiting for a steamship to bring me to the U.S. I remember the ferry that took us directly to Angel Island, and they never let us off to San Francisco.
For those who were detained there, it was like a prison.
The whole place is barricaded with barbed wire at all the entrance, so it's surrounded. I'm sure there's outside guard on the towers.
Charlie Chin works for the Chinese Historical Society of America.
The normal process for entrance into Angel Island was that you were directly taken there by boat, and then you had to be processed, and that meant, first of all, a medical examination. Then they had to go through your papers, and then you were put in a barracks. Men and women were separated, and boys up to about 8 or 9 were still considered men, so they had to go to the men even though they were very, very young.
Well, there's about 100 in the room, as I recall. It was full. There's not much at what we call socializing together there. Everybody's got problem. Everybody.
From 1910 until 1940, Angel Island was the end of the dream. Between 5 and 15% of immigrants were refused entry and sent home. Many of the detainees expressed their feelings through poetry they carved on the walls before they were deported.
臨到美洲，遞入木樓，成為囚犯，來此一秋。美人不准批撥回頭，消息報告回國經憂。
Every week they interrogated you. They asked you the same questions over and over and over again, waiting for you to make one mistake. Make one mistake, you're back.
For 11-year-old Don Lee, it was a frightening experience.
There's 4 or 5 people. I'm alone by myself. And no one is helping me in there because the interpreter is strictly, he has to play it straight.
So they would actually ask a lot of questions of the son or daughter.
Officials tried to trick immigrants to refuse entry. Grandin has studied the documents.
And so they'd say, how many steps is it to the village well? Who lives in the 4th house in the 3rd row of your village? Who is your 3rd uncle on your mother's side? And things like that. And so it made it really difficult to come over.
They asked how many, in the house itself, how many windows you have. Of course, no window. We don't have window in China.
Susan Englander is a history professor at San Francisco State University.
There was intense discrimination and prejudice against the Chinese here because the Chinese were taking white men's and white women's jobs. They were chased off of claims that were profitable. They were chased away from white settlements.
The 1882 Chinese Exclusion Act only granted citizenship to those with relatives already here. Therefore, some immigrants created false paperwork to fit this requirement. Felicia Lowe's parents got into the United States on false paperwork. That created a lifelong fear that they will be caught and deported.
And I think even though I was born in America, I'm sure my parents always felt that if I knew too much, maybe the whole family would be sent back. There was no reason for them to trust American government thinking about Chinese people.
There were detainees held for as long as 2 years. Some even committed suicide. Felicia Lowe made a film about Angel Island called Carved in Silence.
Absolutely, you could feel the ghosts in the building. You know, I just was given freedom to just walk around, see all the carvings on the walls and stuff. And of course, the walls talk there. You could imagine yourself being in that situation and saying, is this going to be better? You know, is it worth it? You know, to have made the sacrifices.
Angel Island is certainly filled with both beauty and sadness.
It is. My feeling is that it is an island without any angels.
Thank you, Annie. We'll be right back.
Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we will travel to a cafe to not only taste the coffee, but to also see cats. Welcome back. Coraline, you found a place that's brand new, a first in America. It's all about blending coffee and adopting cats.
It's my new favorite cafe. It's the first cat cafe, and it's open in Auckland. People go there for coffee and sometimes even take a cat home.
Welcome to the Cat Town Cafe. Why is it called Cat Town Cafe? Oh, that's because real cats live here too. Cat Town Cafe creates an environment where people and cats get together. These adorable cats from Oakland's animal shelter are all available for adoption at Cat Town. Anne Down is the founder of Cat Town Cafe.
Everybody is here to be adopted. That's the only reason that they're here.
She's on a rescue mission to get cats out of the shelter.
We know that a lot of people won't go to the shelter to adopt, and so creating a super positive environment where the cats are cage-free, they can have fun while they're waiting for a permanent home.
Seeing the cats playing, stretching, or napping here makes people feel happy.
Sounds good. Thank you. When I get here, I look through the windows and, wave to the cats, and sometimes they'll jump up on the bookshelves. It's just a great way to start the day.
According to the ASPCA, there are almost 14,000 animal shelters nationwide.
Nobody wants to go to a shelter. It's kind of depressing. You know that a lot of the animals at the shelter aren't going to make it to their forever homes.
About 1.4 million cats are euthanized every year. Cat Town wants to make a real difference and save cats' lives.
Our first day, we started with 9 cats. 6 of them got adopted in the first 2 days, and those cats had all have been at the shelter for 4 months or more. So that just tells me that what we're doing is going to work, and that we're going to be able to save a lot of cats.
Adam Myatt, co-founder of Cat Town, has even larger dreams.
What's the biggest goal for you?
If we can keep on that track of averaging a cat a day, that is kind of my goal right now, because that would be awesome. That's a ton of shelter cats that we're helping out.
Cat Town is inspired by cat cafes in Japan.
One weird thing that we found there was that we saw probably over 200 cats in all of these cafes, and we couldn't get any of the cats to purr. That was a really sad thing. I think cats living in that environment full time is very stressful and very overwhelming.
Adam discovered most cat cafes are designed for people, not for cats, except this one.
So we're at Tokyo Cat Guardian. This one is probably most similar to what we're trying to do with Cat Town Cafe, in the sense that it's a really small cafe and a big rescue center focused on adoption.
Cats meet more adopters at Cat Town than at the shelter.
I think the adoption angle and not keeping cats in here for longer than 2 or 3 weeks is really what changes things for us as compared to the Japanese models.
And cats can provide therapy for people.
So we're in the grieving process of after losing Earl. He died of cancer. He was 11. It was hard. He just brought so much joy into our lives.
It's a good place to fill the big hole where Earl used to be.
It's our second time, and we'll probably try to come every week.
Again and again, people return to Cat Town to play with the cats, even to watch them nap.
It seemed like a great idea to come down for the weekend and check out the cats.
Cat Town is Rebecca Lee's catnip. She can't resist it.
Everybody that is coming here is really excited to be here, so there's a nice energy that everyone wants to play with the cats and see them.
It's fun and it's smart. Cat Town is a cozy place connecting people and animals.
It's a place where people can go and relate to animals. You're in the middle of an urban setting where you just don't get to interact with the animal world, and it's just a nice little oasis.
A better home than a cage. Wild cats wait for a permanent home where they will become part of a family.
Nothing makes me happier than when they go to a great home. I need other people to love them and care for them, and so anyone who's willing to do that, I'm so happy for that to happen.
Coraline, that looked like great fun.
It was. And the cats, well, they're so cute.
Next time, bring me with you.
Absolutely. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's stories.
From Angel Island to a music club to a cafe with cats. Thanks for watching.
Hope to see you next time.
And for all of us at InBox, goodbye.